His life as a religious scholar and judge in Tangier had been comfortable. Well educated, he could pepper his conversations with poetry, Quran quotes, and references to classic Arabic literature. He dressed like a legal scholar, in a large turban and a spotless gown of fine fabric. Batuta's travels as a poor holy man were not always so comfy. He explored much of Arabia, then India, Southeast Asia, Spain, and parts of Africa, always with the goal of finding the holiest people there. Sometimes he thought of staying to study with them, and sometimes he cried from homesickness, especially when he learned from far away of the death of his father, then his son, then his mother. But he was too restless, too curious to stop exploring. Never take the same road twice was his motto. Unable to swim and uncomfortable around water, Batuta preferred traveling on land. He was treated generously at Christian monasteries and at way stations that took care of Muslim holy men. Sometimes he joined caravans for companionship. Other times he was helped by kind local rulers who might give him clean clothes with coins sewed into them, as well as horses and slaves for his journey. Batuta frowned on those who smoked hashish, drank alcohol, or neglected their prayers. He hated markets that stank of rotten fruit, too much fresh fish, and the blood of slaughtered camels flowing in the street, all common at the time. Men in bathhouses without towels around their waists bothered him, as did women whose heads weren't covered or who had male friends, all of which he considered immodest. He despised violence towards others, slaves being abused, or the practice of forcing criminals to eat human excrement. He blended in and felt at home almost everywhere except China. He found everything there to be foreign to him, which distressed me so much that I stayed at home and went out only when it was necessary. A fan of the spiritual and physical beauty of women, Batuta married at least 10 times and fathered at least 5 children. He rarely took the wives or children traveling with him. The women's families objected. 6 of the marriages took place on the heavenly Maldive Islands, after Batuta got over his horror at the skimpy islander outfits. When I was a religious judge there, I tried to put an end to this practice and ordered them to wear clothes, but I was met with no success. Death threatened Batuta at every turn. Once he was so ill with a high fever that he tied himself to his horse's saddle so he wouldn't fall. Hot winds could dry up every source of water. The price of a mouthful reached enormous sums. Deathly cold would force him to wear so many bulky layers that he had to be lifted onto his horse. In a pirate attack, he lost everything except for a single pair of pants, and in a bandit attack, he was wounded by arrows. But he also met with extraordinary hospitality. Once, when he was lost for days without food or drink, his feet swollen and bleeding, a stranger approached and carried Batuta on his back to shelter. He seldom went hungry. A simple meal would be bread, cheese, olives, fresh dates. He enjoyed melons, white apricots, coconuts, anything sweetened with sugar or carob, and a kind of lizard with its insides replaced with turmeric. After 30 years, Batuta returned for good to Morocco, deciding it was the best of countries, though it was one of the few places he had never explored. When the Sultan commanded him to record his memories, Batuta produced a vivid account. Centuries later, it reached Europe, revealing a wealth of information about large parts of the Muslim world, enlarging everyone's horizons. Today, if you travel to Dubai, a city on the Arabian